Hey, hey, it's Mike, everybody. Been a minute, but finally got some things back. Got my basement fixed. Fun times. Fun times. So I thought I'd do a little rig rundown while I get all my stuff set up. So let's get into it. I've actually got a few different rigs. We're going to go with the electric one for now, and there's actually two of those as well. So let's get in on this guy here. So this is the handy dandy Blackstar HT Studio 20. It's a 112 combo, 20 watts. I love this thing. Can't say enough good things about it. It's my main rig when I'm out gigging with Super Bueno, or even with a couple of the other bands that I play with. That's the amp I use. It's portable. It's comparatively light, only about 42 pounds, and you know, it sounds great. So who am I to argue? Now the pedal board stays more or less the same no matter which amp I'm using. So as you can see, there's quite a bit going on there. This big monstrosity down on the bottom here, that is the Joyo PXL Pro switching system, programmable switching system, I might add. So the way I've got this set up right now is I've got 4 different loops of pedals, 3 of them going into the front of the amp and 1 of them going into the effects loop. And I have, I think, 8 or 9 banks that I can choose from. Yeah, 8 banks. I've got the first 3 programmed right now, depending on what my setting is. So the first loop is going to be everything from the Green Rhino, the Soul Food, the Blackstar. Then we go up here, we've got the Noise Gate and the More Pitch Box. So these are my 3 main drives, depending on what song we're playing. Each one of them has a different purpose. The Green Rhino, that's my go-to pedal right there. That's if you come see Super Bueno playing, there's about a 90% chance you're going to be hearing the Green Rhino coming out of that amp. The Soul Food I use for a couple of things. The Blackstar is my high gain. If I need just a little bit more chutzpah, that's the one I click on. I've got the Noise Gate. I only use this in a couple of situations, and usually not when I'm using the Blackstar. And the Pitch Box is a harmonist or a pitch shifter, and I use that on occasion, not all that often. It's just kind of there in case I need to change tuning on the fly or something like that. So the second loop is these 2 guys right here. I got my Dynacomp, for some reason was off, the Dynacomp and the Analog Chorus. These things pair great together. This is my clean tone. Again, if you come see Super Bueno play and we're doing funk stuff like, I don't know, Play That Funky Music or Brick House or whatever it is, these are the 2 that you're hearing through the Strat that I play. These settings are actually pretty close to what I use. It really depends on the room that we're playing in and what mics the sound is using and all that other stuff, but that's pretty darn close. So that's loop number 2. Loop number 3 is way over here, and that's these 2 guys, the More Acoustic Simulator and the TC Electronic Body Res. We do a bunch of stuff where I need to have an acoustic sound, and for a long time I was taking an acoustic guitar with me, but it takes up a lot of space, eats up a lot of time in between songs changing. So this way you still get the scrape of the pick on the strings. It sounds passable, and all I have to do is click a button and I'm there. Plus I can switch between, if you know, I feel the need to switch between 2 different patches in the middle of a song, I can do that. I had, note the past tense, another acoustic simulator. I've actually got 3 all figured. This one, this little Moore Acousticar, it's the cleanest one I've heard. It sounds great. I can turn the level up so that it matches the rest of my patches, and it doesn't break up. The Body Res just adds a little bit of, well, body. So that's loop number 3. Loop number 4 is all of this stuff on the top row. Why are these not turning on? All the stuff on the top row. So this is an EP Boost by Exotic Effects, the MXR Sugar Drive, which I'm pretty sure is just a clone, Hall of Fame Reverb, and the Way Huge Super Puss Delay. And these 4 are all looped together, and that's my lead tone, and that goes through the effects loop on the Blackstar. So it does kind of piggyback on top of the gain of whatever I've got going on in loop 1, or A if you prefer. But It's got its own gain pedal right here. It's actually set at a pretty low gain. It's nice and beefy, and it's got just a little bit of ambiance with these two things going on. I really like it. It's a very smooth sound. Now, here's where it gets all kinds of fun. If you go over here, you see my loom, and you see that my loom is in fact color-coded. That's right, I color-coded. Why? A number of reasons, not the least of which being the cables were available and they were the lengths that I needed. But also because this way, no matter what amp I'm playing, no matter what setting I'm in, if I'm using house backline or something like that, I can always tell what goes where. So the orange one here, that's the foot switch. Get back to that in a minute. The red plaid guy here, that's my effects send. This green one is the effects return, and the blue one goes into the front of the amp. Now I mentioned the foot switch on this orange, yellow, creamsicle, whatever color you call that. So this guy here has the ability to change and switch 4 different triggers on an amp. My amp only has one trigger. That's foot switch that switches between channels. But I can plug this in, so between 2 different patches I can either have the channel on my amp or the channel off on my amp, clean or dirty. It works out really, really well. If I didn't want to use the effects loop, I would then have 8 loops to run through the front of the amp, all through these guys here. Actually, that one's the power, so all through these 3 here. That is essentially the rig for all electric shows as far as the pedals go. The Black Star, as I said, is my main amp, but with a couple of the bands I'm in, I like to experiment a little bit, so we use this guy here, which is the Panama Shaman 2 by Panama Amps, obviously. Made in Panama, hence the name. And the cabinet is a 212. It says Seismic. It no longer is. That's what it came as, but I changed the speakers out. It's got a pair of PV triple X's in it, which actually are very meaty. This amp is amazing. It has all the gain you could ever want or need. If I'm going to complain about it, what do those symbols mean? Well, you kind of have to, they actually send you a key so you know what those symbols mean. You've got over here, overall gain, high, follow the arrow, high, mid, low. This one is presence, and then this is overall volume. You've also got high gain and low gain on each channel. It's pretty much switching between 10 watts and 20. Here's your foot switch. And all the way over here, you've got yet another high gain or low gain. This adjusts the clipping on each channel. So they'll list the channels in the manual as clean and not so clean, which I find very funny. Also, it's purple. How cool is that? And of course, what rig would be complete without the heavy artillery? So these are the guitars that I've got. This guy here, this is an Ibanez EX60. This was the first guitar I got when I was 13 years old. Pretty much all that's left of it as it came is the body and the neck. Everything else has been changed. Pickups are currently a Duncan Super Distortion, I think that's a JB Junior in the middle, and then a Hot Rails in the neck, rosewood fingerboard. I've often said this is the only guitar I can play with any degree of dexterity and fluency. Got locking tuners on there. I love this guitar. I will never part with it. It's amazing. It's got chips in the finish. It's got character. It's got a blocked off tremolo with a FU tone bronze block in there. This is a machine right here. Next up, Stratocaster. Mid-90s Squier Mexican, or I beg your pardon, Fender Mexican Strat. Again, not a whole lot left stock on it. That is a JB Junior in the bridge, a DiMarzio Virtual Vintage Heavy Blues, and a Hot Rails in the neck. Actually, those are the stock tuners. I went to switch them out, but I didn't have the right size on me, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But this is my main gigging guitar. This is the one, if you come see Super Bueno, that's what you're going to see me playing. Again, the trim is blocked off. I don't like floating tremolos. It's got locking tuners on it because if you don't do that, you're not doing it right. This is a workhorse guitar. I love it. Next up, I don't have a Les Paul, but I've got this instead. This is a PV-HP Signature Series. I love this guitar. PV gets a bad rap as far as their guitars go, and nowadays as far as their amps go. And you know what? It's a little bit deserved. But this is the exception that proves the rule. I got this came with gold hardware. Obviously, I have changed it out. I blacked it out. Seymour Duncan, JB Jr., and a Super Distortion, the bridge and neck, respectively. It's been through 7 or 8 different sets of pickups. I'm never really satisfied with it, but on the occasions when I feel the need to play a Les Paul, this is the guitar I grab, and it does the job. It's got a mahogany body. Shape's a little bit different, but it's the right scale length. I really dig it. This is a loud guitar, if nothing else. Next up, lastly, but certainly not leastly, is the Tele. I used to work at a music store, and when I did, there was a rack of Squier Telecasters, Affinity Series Squier Telecasters, and this one had a couple of dings in it that it had picked up from being a floor model. So I decided to bring it home with me and make it my own. I got locking tuners, Fender locking tuners on the back. It's got the Seymour Duncan quarter-pounder Tele set in it, and if you can look down here, you see this switch in the middle here. This guy is a series and parallel switch. Guy named Jerry over at Musicland in Bel Air, Maryland does all of my guitar work, and he is absolutely spectacular. If you need work done in the area, I highly recommend Jerry Davison at Musicland. But he's the one who put that switch in there for me, and this is one of my favorite guitars, and when I'm at home, I play it all the time. I don't play it out very much just because the settings that I'm in don't really call for a Tele all that often, which is a crying shame because this is a great, great sounding guitar. And then, you know, just to complete the rack, because I know you could see it at some point here, we've got the bass. I did play bass a number of times in my life in bands, and it looks like I might be doing it again soon, but this is an Ibanez Ergodyne model, EDC 700. Lots of stuff going on down in that area there. It's a lucite body. I don't even think it's wood, but I love the neck on this thing. I love the way it sounds. I love the way it feels. I had it, I parted with it for a while, and I was lucky enough to get it back. This is maybe the only bass I'll ever play. I love it so much. And look at that, at least part of it is wood. Bang. But they call this finish Black Pearl, which I don't necessarily care for, but I don't make the rules. So that's the rig. The electric one anyway. Maybe we'll do the acoustic one another day. There's always something different no matter where I'm playing or what I'm doing. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the amps, the pedals, the guitars, anything like that, just let me know and I will answer them as best I can. Guys, have a good day. See you next time.